We're live?
Yep. Upgrading camera quality too.
Oh, upgrading camera quality? You can do that? Jesus, yeah.
Using DSLR, baby.
Alright. So I guess we get started now. Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while since I've been on camera, at least. I know Jacob streamed a while ago. Yesterday, someday.
Friday.
But yeah, Jacob just came in here. We're not doing a build today, but I was asked just to every once in a while come in here and talk about parts that we have in the warehouse that I seem to really like. And so today was just kind of a mock version of that. So every once in a while I'll get on here. I'm just going to talk about stuff that I like, stuff that I wish we, I guess, sold more of. Or essentially just stuff I personally like, because I like building in it, or I like using it in builds or anything like that, and I just want to be do more of it and like educate people on it. And then it's also somewhat of an AMA, so if there's any questions you have about what I bring up or anything like that regarding our builds, just go ahead and ask. So,
or just in parts in general.
Yeah, just parts in general. So I might bring coolers up here that I really like. I might bring like GPUs I really like, or like a version of a GPU if I think like one has a better cooler. Cases, like today I'm doing a case. But yeah. So today, when I was asked, first thing I went to is I picked out our Fractal Design Torrent, which if you're on our site, it is our, Assassin model. And our Assassin, it is one of our higher end models, right under our Legatus, I believe.
Gladiator, yeah.
About the same as Gladiator.
Yeah, it's like a Gladiator.
Yeah. And honestly, the reason I picked this out is I still think, and this is all subjective, this isn't even the case I have, but I think subjectively, I think it is the best case on the market if you're just looking for raw performance. So the big selling point, one, you have a lot of room, so that way upgrading anything like that down the line is easy. Other nice thing is all the side panels are just pull sockets, or I forget if it's like, it's not a ball socket. I forget if they push tabs, pull tabs, whatever they are. So that way if you want to get in and work on your case, it's literally just pop this out, slide this up, and you are in. So I think working on this case is super easy. Cleaning it, maintaining it is super easy. But the real thing that makes me like it is, one, if anyone knows me, I am not the biggest RGB guy. My computer at home is just completely black. I think RGB is super cool. Just not my thing. Like, I just don't have it at home. I just probably get ADHD or something. I get too distracted, because when I did have RGB, I would change the colors like every week. I'd be like, hey, this looks gross. Or this is annoying. Or I'd really like this. And then like a day later, I'd be like, I don't really like this. I still have some in. This is more of like an accent piece. Like I had one strip just to light up the inside of the case just so I can see my parts. But yeah, same goes with the back panel. It's just a tab, pull off.
It's also tempered glass on the back too.
Yeah. The back on the black variant is tempered glass, but if you pick up the white variant, it is a solid piece.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Same thing with the front. The front is going to be magnetic and push tabs, pull tabs, whatever you want to call it. The big selling point and why I think this case is so good is, one, we can pull it up. You can see the rear where the exhaust would go. It is completely open. Like, it is a bunch of just hexagon cutouts. So that doesn't restrict any airflow for the system at all when you're trying to exhaust the heat. Second is, well, I guess the first thing is I think the case just looks cool, to be honest. I'm a big fan of that monochromatic look. But the other big selling point is, once I get you guys in here, you can see most cases, like the standard fan size that you'll get is a 120 millimeter fan, and on occasion you'll see 140 millimeters, but those are kind of like, those are the standards. That's pretty much what everyone will use. Normally 120, occasionally 140. This, the Fractal design went a bit different with this one. So on the front, you actually are going to get two 180 millimeter fans. And the benefit of having 180 millimeter fans, and another reason I love this case so much, is that you can push the same amount of air with a larger fan, but have less rotations. So when you have less rotations on a fan, it's quieter because obviously spinning really fast is what's going to make noise. So this case is just dead quiet because of that. And then on the bottom, pre-installed are going to be three 140 millimeter fans for your graphics card. So you put a 4090, 4080 in here, still dead silent system. The one downside, I guess subjective downside to having these two 180s in the front is this case is not built around liquid cooling. You can put an AIO in here. You obviously can do a custom loop that you can mount a radiator on the bottom. You can mount radiators on the front. So like it's one of those things, it's functional, it works, you can do liquid, it's just fine. But the big point of the price that you're putting towards this case are those fans, and to get the most out of it, air cooling is the way to go. That's obviously what they were thinking about when they made this case. And again, if anyone also knows me, I am a big air cooler guy. I just find it simple, I find it easier to work on, and I find it easier to replace a fan if it breaks, opposed to like replacing an AIO or getting a new AIO. So all I'm learning so far is that I'm really lazy on computers, and I just want something I can put on my desk and it just works. I know it's gonna work. And now that probably bleeds into why I like this much. Is Brad, did you break some?
Nah, just the zip ties.
Just upset. Oh yeah. Jacob broke it. I remember.
Yeah, Jacob did it.
He bent it the wrong way. But yeah, I'm just someone that like, I love building. Don't get me wrong, it's super fun. These crazy RGB builds that we get to build here that you guys buy, I love it. But at my home, I just want something that looks nice, not too shiny, and it just works. Like I'm very much a function person first. And so clearly Fractal, Noctua are like the two brands that I love the most. Obviously, also being all blacked out fans, a lot less cables. So building this is super easy. And then I did bring some of the fans just so people can kind of get an idea. So this is a Noctua NF12. This is what we would consider a normal high-end 120 millimeter fan. So this is like the normal fan that you'd see inside of a case. And so again, nothing wrong with it. It's just, there's a little hair right there. So in case you guys can't see inside here, these are the fans that you're going to be getting. With the Fractal case. So obviously, as you can see, the amount of times this guy would have to spin compared to this guy to push the same amount of airflow is way less. So this guy is going to spin a lot slower. And because of that, it's just going to be dead quiet. Where this guy, once temps start going up, it's going to start spinning faster. And eventually it will be audible, even with how quiet Noctua is. Even if it's a hum, it will be audible. This, in our Assassin models, we have put, once we do the fan tuning and we set the speeds, we put 4090s and i9s in these systems. Just a Noctua NHD 15. So high-end air cooler, and we will push it with like Red Dead Redemption 2. We'll push it with Furmark, Geekbench, all of that, Cinebench, and the computer just stays inaudible. You just can't hear it. And that is one of the golden things about the Torrent, and that's why I like it so much. It is a clean looking case. It is a functional look. It is an extremely functional case. It's about as expensive as like your 011 Evos and stuff like that. It is a huge case, so you don't have to worry about, you know, when they make the 5090 and it's the size of like 5 shoe boxes. Not to mention about large graphics cards. There's not one in here, but the case does come with a mounted, a case-mounted anti-sag bracket that we always put on with all of our all of our sales. So if you ever pick up the Assassin, we will put an anti-sag in here for you that does come with the case. Other thing, this again is very subjective because I've heard the exact opposite from people who work here, and I will die on the hill when I argue back. I think this case is extremely easy to cable in. I know some people who have built it I've run away from this argument all the way to Colorado. But this case is easy to cable in. Send that clip to him. Dude, he hated building in this thing.
I know.
But yeah, the difference between building in this case, let me go ahead and move that glass. So you can see, because you have these spans on the bottom, most of the time you'd have a power supply shroud here. So just an empty, there's like, you know, that big black brick you see at the bottom of the computer, and that's where your power supply would go. The big difference about this case is the power supply is actually going to go on top. So if you ever need to add, because we do give you extra SATA cables and all of that, well, your SATA cables with your power supply. If you need to add hard drives, if you ever want to hook those up, power supply goes right up here. So the easy thing about that, with your power supply right up here, it is such a pain in the butt sometimes, dude. I'm just, it freaking sucks. It is a pain in the ass. If you forget like a CPU cable or something, and you have to dig around that power supply shroud to get to it, most of the time you just take out the power supply. The nice thing about this is where your power supply will come down to about here, and all your plugs are here. So you just take off the top panel and you just plug in what you need to plug in, and you route it through, and you just route it down. So what's nice is everything's easy. All your cables, you have a channel down here that's kind of hidden. You route all the fan cables and everything you want down there. 24-pin fan cables and all just go up the side. And then all of this right here, where your hard drives, SSDs, well, SSDs go over here, 2.5 inch. That all stays open. And I think cabling this guy is super simple. And I think if you ever mess up, or if you do a power supply swap or anything like that, let's say you upgrade your computer down the line, I think removing this power supply or adding your additional cables to it is so much easier than anything else. So that is a big selling point. I guess this also kind of goes back to an old point. I'm sorry, guys. It's just a really good case, and I wish I could just tell people, dude, just buy it. It's a really good case and it works, but I guess I have to go into detail. Cleaning this thing is easy. So that's another thing I'm known for here is I'm super anal about how, hey TJ. TJ walked in right when I said anal.
I just walked in right when Nick said he likes super anal.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. God damn it. So another thing I like about it is just the maintenance. So like I was saying, one thing I'm super anal about is cleaning computers. And it was the first things I said when I started here is we need to buy an air duster. You don't know how many times I've gotten a PC back and I've had to let the customer know, like, hey, here's an air duster link, pick it up. Please. Please do this. And what's nice about this is because you'll get a lot of cases that just have dust filters everywhere, and they're super beneficial on the front of your case to stop dust from coming in. But when you have dust filters on top, dust filters on the back, dust filters on bottom, a lot of times what you're doing is you're just keeping dust trapped in the system. So just having this completely open back panel, like it's not mesh, it's nothing, it's open. A lot of that dust just flies out of the system. And then so air dusting it, just popping off, like I said, the side panel and just taking your electric air duster, please buy one. And blowing this guy out for like 30 seconds once a week. Dude, the torrents are so easy to clean. And then the only thing every once in a while, like I said, front is tabs. You just pop it off. Slide up the one dust filter you actually have. And obviously I fuck it up. There you go.
The pressure's on.
Yeah, the pressure's on. Yeah, take this guy out, clean it under hot water, let it dry, and that is the only actual dust filter you have to worry about. So again, guys, what I'm learning so far while doing this is I am extremely lazy, and I just want the easiest case to work on and easiest case to maintain, and something that just works. And like, I firmly believe that the Torrent is. I know TJ's in here. I know he's also a big Fractal Design fan. And a lot of it is because they are just easy.
Fractal stuff is smart, dude. Like, if you want, with Fractal stuff, it tends to be a case of if you're the actual person assembling the system and you wish that there was a channel there for cables with Fractal, it's there.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's always a channel or an anchor point for a zip tie or whatever. It just seems like when you want to route a cable there with a fractal case, you can, and it's made for it. It's intelligently laid out, and I really like fractal stuff. Unfortunately, from a sourcing standpoint, it's actually really hard to consistently get some of the fractal stuff here in the States because they're very much a Euro-Asian centric company on their distribution side. So it is difficult to keep stock of some of this stuff. The fractal stuff is not nearly as widespread here stateside as it is in Europe and Asia, but it's easy stuff to work with, and it's very intelligently laid out. I do like their stuff a lot.
Yeah, I was looking around because you were saying that they always add something to the channel. I think I lost 2 Velcro straps. Because one thing I hate that companies do is that when you have a channel route, you have a zip tie to hold something vertical but not horizontal.
Yep.
And so I love that Fractal. Usually there's a Velcro strap here, so you can pull the 24 pin in and hold it horizontally.
Strap it down. Yeah.
Because a lot of times you have to like bend the 24 pin or twist it when you have like sleeved cables. This is almost designed to bend and then 90-degree turn up, and it's perfect.
It's funny. I was actually just talking to Jesse, and he was asking me why I always put 2 wraps of electrical tape when I plug the extensions in, whether it's the 24 pin or whether it's the PCI or the CPU cables, whatever, because you have that hook on the top that grabs onto the actual extension, and there sometimes that can come loose during shipping or something like that because it's just that little retention clip.
Yeah.
And so I always do just 2 wraps of electrical tape to hold that clip in place so it doesn't pop up.
Yeah. I mean, I never actually thought about doing that.
I've always done that.
I mean,
years,
I do electrical tape like RGB.
RGB, yeah.
I don't know why they don't have locking mechanisms for 5-volt headers.
Yeah, 5-volt headers never. It'd be interesting to see them come up with something like that, but for years I've always electrical tape. Anytime I'm doing like a PWM fan into a splitter or something like that, I'll tape that connection. Just
we just lost signal.
to from
You
your.
sure how loud your camera is?
The camera just died.
Dude, that camera, that had a fan going on like crazy.
It says no input.
Oh man.
You break our shit, Brad.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going up, man? How you doing?
Can you switch to another cam?
I don't know.
We lost our camera signal.
Time to liquid cool the camera.
Nick's back. We need some water cooling for the camera.
Dude, I've seen people water cool a camera.
Yeah.
It's doable. It's a
believe
pain in
it.
the ass. I would never want to do it.
Yeah. No, we had to power cycle our camera there, but yeah, I'm always, I don't know, with cable management stuff, dude. I always err on the side of like, an extra tape or something like that. Just,
Oh, what's going on, Dan? How are you doing, man? New shop. It's a lot of space.
Yeah.
That is a lot of space.
We're gonna lose video.
What?
All right, hold on.
You're getting rid of me?
Brad's putting a new battery in.
Oh, goodbye.
Hang tight.
Goodbye, Brad.
Ah.
Just had to show the whole cable map at the back right before he cut it.
You got to get up here one day to check out the new digs, Dan. It's I don't know, we're like 250 yards up the street from where we used to be.
Oh yeah.
We didn't move that far. But I don't know.
But now I have to walk like 45 feet just to say hi to someone.
It's
It's the worst part.
I don't know. We were so out. We just outgrew that other place though.
We did outgrow it, but do you know how hard it is? I don't know if it's the space or the volume, but it's really hard to just ask Kevin how his day is going.
Yeah.
I'll sit there. Kevin!
He can't hear you, bro. He's in the zone. He's in the zone,
He's
dude.
listening to that huge
He's listening to him.
20-inch.
Him
Dude,
and
do you see how when he sits at the desk, he turns the speaker to face him
yes.
at his desk and just puts it on full blast?
Blares music right in his face. Kevin's that guy at the concert that sits in the front row right in front of the speakers and like just jams. Him and Owen, dude, back there listening to their calypso music or whatever. Jamming, having a fiesta. Having a fiesta.
Jesus.
Blame him.
Maybe I'll drive up again in the spring. Not gonna do it in the weather we've had lately. Oh yeah, dude, it's been terrible.
Yeah,
Actually,
dude.
it's back up to like 30 or so today.
Well,
It's starting to know.
dude, I almost died when I left the shop last night because the
It was all mush. It was
all the water is dripping, running down the roof because everything was melting last night, and it was hitting the pavement right in front of our door and then freezing because the asphalt was colder than the air, and so all the water was coming off the roof and then freezing. And I opened the door from the entryway into the parking lot, and I like stepped out the door, and I slid and I grabbed the door. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, well, I didn't leave until like 10 o'clock last night, and then I almost bit it walking out to my car, and I was like, oh, so I came and I threw a bunch of salt down because I was like, I didn't know if Liz was coming in this morning or not, and I was like, dude, I better salt the entire walkway or she's gonna like die trying to get into the building.
Dude,
It was bad again. It was there. We had a
bad
ice
this morning.
patch.
Yeah.
It showed it.
I saw everybody. I saw somebody. Was that you? Salted out there this morning because I salted before I left late last night, and I was thinking like it's gonna be a nightmare in the morning.
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I had like an irrational fear of icicles. When I was like 5, 6. Well, because we had like an old square colonial house, so the roof ended like right where the door was. So there'd be icicles just hanging over the door. So when it would start to melt, when I was like 5 or 6, I would like reach forward and I'd hit the door code. I'd go boop, 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 and I'd pull the door open and I would jump through the door. So I was always afraid of just taking one to the head. Because like you'd look up and it would just be pointed right at you.
Yeah.
We just had rows of them because we had trees over our house. So all the snow would be on the trees in our roof, and then eventually it would just melt off the trees onto the roof, down, and then just we'd have icicles that were like 4 feet long. Jesus, like in there.
All right, so Nick, talk about because we encourage people to use like an air duster or compressed air to clean out their system. So we posted a video on our socials a few weeks back of like how to clean out your PC. And we got so many comments with people that I'm going to assume that they watched, was it the Jay's 2 cents
don't
video?
air dust?
Yeah.
From what I've seen on the don't air dust stuff, I've only ever seen the air cans. Like, don't use air cans. Because people get that crap on it that like spits out. And it like frosts.
So I don't know, but there was, I don't know, I can't remember if it was Linus or Gamers Nexus or Jay's 2 cents. I think it was Jay's 2 cents, but I might be wrong about that. Did a video, I don't know, a month and a half or so ago, basically measuring like the current that flows through a fan when you blow air into the fins and it spins.
Yeah.
And they were saying like it's dangerous to spin your fans at a super high RPM when you're cleaning it or whatever because it can damage your components. And like while that's true, like
I've also seen one of them make a video saying fans are meant to spin.
Right. And you can, so
when the speed on it too.
When you are like using an air duster to clean out your system, like you can literally just stick a finger on your fan blade so that it doesn't spin. You're not going to damage it. Like I don't give a shit what anyone says. I don't care if it's Jay's 2 cents or Gamers Nexus or Linus or whomever. Like those guys are pretty good and they're accurate with the vast majority of the information they put out. But if your fan blades are spinning a little bit while you're cleaning out your system, you're not going to damage your system like that. You don't want to blow air right into the fan so that it's going.
But I've never had a fan die or anything die from air dusting it. But I don't do max speed on the air.
Right.
Duster.
You don't like blow air as hard as you can directly into the fan blades and spin them at some crazy high RPM. But if you're doing things in a reasonable manner and your fans are spinning a little bit or you're holding them in place while you clean them, like it's perfectly safe to air dust your system. Yeah, leaf blower. I mean, whatever they were doing in the video. So like,
a leaf blower.
I get it.
It just makes, because a lot of fans are rated for like your standard like case fan for like a user is like 2,000 RPM.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
some of the Noctua stuff and like some of the high end stuff,
like
the industrial stuff is rated for like 3,000 RPM, and then some of the stuff with really good.
Like, an air duster can go up to 5,000 RPM sometimes, but like don't do that.
Yeah, you don't.
There's usually like 2 or 3 switches for what level of air you want. Just do the low one. because the canned air just doesn't have enough pressure to get any dust out.
We had a lot of comments on that video that were like, oh, this is so wrong, don't do this. And I wanted to be like, we saw that video too, dorks.
Dude,
Like,
I think it's one of those things where like
that's not
yeah, I think it's just one of those
safe to do it.
I
Use
think
common
it's one of
sense.
those things where like if one thing happens one time, people think it's gonna happen every time. I've only ever had one fan break from an air duster, and it was my GPU fan. And it's because while I was air dusting it, I got too close, and the fan hit the nozzle of the air duster, and just one of the blades snapped off. That was the only one I ever broke.
So be careful. Use common sense. Don't blow the thing directly into your fans at like max power.
No, yeah, just like you said, hold your fan.
Camera not again.
But yeah, I always. Oh.
I think we're back now.
Yeah. And then someone asked the question: can an SSD cause a game to crash?
Yeah, absolutely. Where are you reading this, Chad? Is that one of the YouTube chats?
YouTube.
Yeah, so if someone on YouTube said Lezax says, can an SSD cause game crashing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if there's corrupted game files, if your SSD isn't reading your graphics driver properly, anything like that, it'll it'll crash it. Or if your SSD, there's the random read writes, and if any of those fail, because you do get a lot of random read writes during gameplay, if any of those fail, yeah, it can crash your system.
So you removed your SSD and put in a new heatsink, and now it's crashing constantly. So if that was the variable, you may not have seated your SSD completely into the slot. Yeah, I would say reseat it. It's probably the most common thing. But so when we get tech support tickets here, 98% of our tickets end up not being hardware. It ends up being the game or Windows or drivers.
The first thing I always do whenever I have an issue is just go to Reddit. If Call of Duty crashes, I'll go to Reddit and be like, Call of Duty this crash, and you see like 500 other people posting it.
Well, we can tell.
It's the game.
We can tell when there's been a COD update by how many tech support tickets are open.
I think one of the crazier ones we got is I was told. I think someone said I was told a 4070 Ti was good for 144 hertz, and I'm not getting 144 FPS on Hogwarts Legacy at 4K, and I was like, well, yeah, dude, just because you have 144 hertz, that doesn't mean every game's gonna hit 140 FPS.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff is game related too. Like if you're having this error on one game, but you play something else and it's fine, chances are it's the game. But yeah, a bad SSD can cause game crashes.
So modern SSDs too come with what they call smart technology. So if the drive is about to fail, actually when you turn on your PC, it'll take you to a BIOS type screen, and it'll say, smart cache, whatever, detects that your drive is vulnerable or about to fail. Please back up your files or whatever. So these modern SSDs, super low failure rate with these modern M.2 NVMEs that go directly into the motherboard. I think the Kingston ones that we use from most of our stuff are 1.8 million hours mean time before failure or something like that.
Kingston, the KC3000,
they're incredibly durable.
Are super high end, and even the NV2 is just a great drive.
Yeah, these things are very, very reliable. I mean, it's not if you go back to the old mechanical hard drives where you actually have spinning discs inside the drive, those obviously had a much shorter shelf life, and you wanted to do some kind of a RAID volume or something like that, so you didn't lose everything. But
God forbid you piss your friend off and he just takes a magnet and just.
It's 50 degrees Celsius, idle, normal. I have a stock cooler.
Are you AMD? Because
AMD, yeah. AMD, yeah.
Yeah.
Normal.
AMD's impossible to cool right now. It really all depends on the variable. I would say the big thing is if you're playing games and you're not hitting consistently 80 or high 80s, you're probably fine.
Yeah, you want to stay, in theory, when these CPUs are manufactured, in theory, there's always moving parts and every system's a little bit different, but you're not really risking like thermal damage to the actual architecture of the CPU until you hit that like 100 degrees Celsius kind of temp. Um, if your firmware is functioning correctly, your PC should literally your CPU will essentially force shut down your PC before it allows itself to like, get cooked by overheating. So it should actually force a shutdown, and then when you power the system back on, you'll get a CPU over temperature error message, that you'll have to clear before you can boot into Windows or something. So, there's a safe range of operating temps, and the tendency when you're like doing research or investigating what components to use in a build or something like that, the tendency is to like go down the rabbit hole and compare like this case versus that case and which one has better thermals. And you go to Gamers Nexus and look at the breakdown video and see that this case was 1.6 decibels quieter than the other one, and 2 degrees Fahrenheit against ambient temperature lower or something like that. And like, understand that there's a pretty wide range of safe operating temperatures. And the reality is that for 99+% of users, that 2 degrees is going to have zero actual impact on your user experience. Like, running your GPU at 67 degrees versus 70 degrees, there's no difference. It doesn't matter.
No, because a lot of times, like I said, the big thing is under the normal use case. Oh, also I did see the reply finally. Ryzen 7 2700X. Yeah, a Ryzen.
That makes sense.
Ryzen running at 50 degrees idle is normal. I have a 5800X 3D at home, and still I idle 45 degrees Celsius, and that's on my Dark Rock Pro 4 cooler. So, yeah, like TJ was saying, there's a lot of variables that go into it. But
there's different kinds of thermal paste too. Like somebody in chat was talking about, Dan said it's time to repaste or whatever. That's why we actually use a carbon-based thermal paste here. Like there are metallic-based thermal interface materials that are out there. Like Cryonaut, Conductonaut, whatever. Like there are metallic-based thermal pastes that will technically perform better, like give you an extra degree or degree and a half over some of the carbon-based stuff. But the carbon-based stuff doesn't break down nearly as fast. So that's why we use Arctic MX6 here, because it is carbon-based. And like as an SI, we don't want our clients to have to do a lot of system maintenance. We want to make it as like Nick was saying, basically keep it clean. We want that to be like the extent of the maintenance that you have to do to these things.
Like if you're not we don't expect our guests, like our customers, to be overclocking that much. So like like sometimes there are thermal pastes, like I like Cryonaut Extreme, but like if you're not overclocking and you don't need that heat transfer that fast, like
right.
Wow, 2 degrees difference.
That's what I mean. If you're in that like safe operating range as far as temperatures, again, if your CPU under extended gaming, heavy gaming load is running at 70 versus 71 or 73 or 68, like that's essentially the same, as far as performance. You will get the one thing with the K-SKU Intel chips, their firmware that those come with like a factory boost clock, right, which is basically a factory overclock. That firmware that calculates, how long and how often those cores will boost is based on thermal overhead. So like if you look at our high-end systems, you will see that we use a lot of AIO water coolers on the K-SKU chips, because if you provide that extra thermal overhead, those chips will boost higher and longer if you have that thermal overhead. But yeah, bottom line up front, as long as you're in that like safe operating temp range, a degree or two this way or that usually isn't that big of a deal.
DBZ Warrior said, sorry, this was a delay. I've been using that PC for a couple months and feels like a dream. Even Robitech liked it. And then he went on Arctic is such a great. Wait, using PC, what do you mean? Which one have you been using? Did I miss a shit? But yeah, if
Yeah,
you,
the Assassin is a beast. A lot of our stuff is essentially factory overclocked.
oh yeah, that's why. So that's why we actually have this case up here. We're not doing an assassin TBZ. Awesome name, by the way. I was just asked to pull something from the warehouse that I really like to use, build in, or anything like that. Something that I like, and I just pulled the torrent case because I love it, and I don't think anything's better or worse here. Everything is all subjective to who's buying it. But if you have an assassin, you have picked up my personal favorite build.
Even Robitech likes it. Justin Roby's actually a really good guy.
Yeah, I love the assassin.
Roby's a super nice guy, man. I've had the opportunity to talk to him a little bit, kind of here and there behind the scenes, and I have nothing but good things to say about Roby. He's a really nice guy. I like him a lot. A1W4L3ED. I'm not even gonna try to decipher that. Asks, is an i7 10700K and 4060 PC with 165 hertz monitor and peripherals worth it for 900 sterling, which is about 1150 US dollars?
700K, 40s. I mean, yeah.
So 10700K, that's not, there's no PCIe Gen 4 support there because it's 10th gen Intel.
No, but I'm going off that a 4060 is what, 450?
It's less than that now.
Oh,
But
no, I'm thinking 4060 Ti.
4060 is $300.
300, so you're looking
Yeah.
at that. 165 hertz monitor. I mean, I guess I'd have to.
Is that a 4K 1080p?
Yeah,
Like
4K,
what?
1080p,
The monitor is a big part of the
4K.
cost
I mean,
there.
If it's a 4060, I'm assuming it's 1080p. Oh, wait. 900 euros for a 10700K. I mean, a 10700K is probably still under like a 14600K and i5 now.
Oh, it's not even close. A 14600K beats the brakes off of a 10.7.
Intel finally got pressured, and Intel had a huge jump when they went to 12th gen.
Yeah. 12th gen when they went to the hybrid CPU architecture was the big leap forward for Intel.
So, I mean, a 4060 is good, but I would haggle a bit.
4060 is great for 1080p gaming.
Yeah.
Like,
So I would still haggle a bit on that CPU because the thing is, it is a little outdated. 10700K that came out.
so that's gonna be yeah.
2017,
What's the board too? Like, is it a Z series board? I mean, because you're gonna be socket jammed. 10.7 because they changed the socket. I think they changed the socket for 11th gen because 11th gen they added PCIe Gen 4 support, and then because 11th gen was a new socket, and then it was a new board chipset. I can't honestly remember if it was a new socket or not. But then 12th gen was a new socket.
Wait, I have to
So 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, because I feel like with our hoplite, I think we can get for like 1200, and that's
Yeah.
if you choose a 4060,
That's a 4060.
and that comes with what, 13.5
Yeah.
hoplite, and I'd still
13.5.
probably take a 13.5 at this point.
Over a 10th gen i7, yeah.
Yeah.
K-SKU though, so
It'd
it's
be
higher
close.
boost clock.
Yeah, but just for the longevity, because then we still have that same socket, the LGA 1700 socket. So if you wanted to upgrade the CPU down the line, you can just do that.
HP Omen. I wouldn't touch anything HP Omen. No offense.
Is updating BIOS risky? It used to be. It definitely used to be, because it used to be that you put the wrong BIOS in your system and your system would just break. Now it's gotten pretty good at saying like, hey, BIOS can't read this file, and it just doesn't do it.
Updating to a beta version of BIOS is risky.
That's risky. So yeah, as long as it's not a beta BIOS, most motherboards, as long as you're with like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, if it's not the right BIOS and you accidentally misclicked, it just won't even take the BIOS update. It'll just tell you no before it even tries. So I wouldn't say doing a BIOS update is risky now, as long as it's, like I said, like TJ said, it's not beta BIOS.
Alexander PC's t-shirt is fire. Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. The only way to get an APC's t-shirt is with an APC. You cannot just buy a t-shirt. We give them out with the systems.
DBZ Warrior. Yeah, I got the Assassin 3 months ago for my double streaming and gaming setup, and I've finally been playing so I can review it. Hell yeah, man, that's awesome.
Love it, man.
Yeah, I love the Assassin.
Yeah,
So,
or if you work for them, you can get a t-shirt if you work for us too.
I have a few, and I don't think I've ever wore it. Yeah.
Or if you're Dan If you're a Meridian, you probably got some
Oh, dude,
APC swag.
I should have worn my hat today, but I'm washing it because it's
Your
white.
your
and
AMD hat.
Yeah, it got dirty because it's really dusty.
Nick got an AMD hat for Christmas.
Yeah, it was really dusty when I cleaned out my deck there and all that, so I had to clean up. Yeah, they got me a hat for Christmas. This is AMD Ryzen.
We were gonna make it say fanboy, but
Yeah. Hey, I like my AMD sometimes, man. No, it's because this is the first generation. I actually switched from NVIDIA to AMD graphics card, and I haven't had an AMD graphics card since I was probably 9 or 10.
that's CJ. Yeah, I'm not I'm still an NVIDIA guy on the graphics side because I
just
don't
care about ray tracing.
I don't play FPS games, man.
What?
I don't play FPS games.
I don't play them too much, but like,
I care about ray tracing
here's my thing. Here's my thing. I'm gonna throw Jacob under the bus
and longevity.
because he just came out there.
I care about having a monolithic die, not a chiplet.
My big selling point on why I went AMD is because it was Hogwarts Legacy at the time came out, and it was VRAM hungry, and my 3080 was not cutting it at all.
See,
The
got Harry Potter.
900 XTs had like their first price drop because 900 was too much for them for sure. They had a price drop to like 750, 750-ish. Picked that
Yeah.
up. The 4070 Ti was 850, and if you turned off ray tracing, it was about the same performance, but I had less lows because of the extra VRAM. And VRAM is not everything. I'm not going to go into that argument. It is by far not the deciding end-all factor.
Yeah, for certain game engines,
Oh, yeah.
VRAM matters.
It's a big deal for anything that's a console game too. So if it's something that was built for PlayStation 5, like God of War, Last of Us, anything like that, Spider-Man, and they put it on PC, like those games are going to benefit from it.
Yeah, certain game engines. I think going forward too, like, I mean, even DDR5 RAM isn't bringing a lot to the party right now for gaming, to be honest, because that hardware is still. I mean, our perspective is going to be so skewed because we build machines every day, and it just doesn't. We've been doing a lot of DDR5 stuff for a couple of years now, but realistically, if you look at real world data, which honestly, the best place to get real world data on like what hardware people are actually using is the Steam hardware survey. I don't know of a better source to see like what people are actually running. And if you look at that, most people, I mean, 1080p gaming is still close to, it's not even close. It's still close to 60% of the market.
But what makes that hard too is I also feel like the Steam survey, since it takes everyone, it's a very large, I'm trying to put this in the nicest way possible. Because like, I feel like it also depends on where you're at. Like, I don't know if the US, I mean, 1080p probably is the biggest here. But I also
It's not even close, dude.
Because Steam is worldwide, and that survey comes from the whole world.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's some areas, like, just because 1080p is the biggest in the world doesn't mean it's the biggest in, like, your area, if that makes sense.
Well, I wonder if you can like geofence.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be curious to filter the results, but I mean, most of your esports players still play 1080p because they want to push max frames.
Yeah.
So
but that's always weird to me whenever they do that and they put like a 4090 in their system, because if you look, that 4090, they start to bottleneck when you start going down. Like, you'll see like a 4090 versus a 4070 at 4K, and the gap's like this. And as they start going down to 1080p, it's like damn near neck and neck.
Well, that's a lot of, like customer education type stuff that we do when, somebody reaches out to us because they want to do a custom build.
I'm willing to pay top dollar.
If they want like,
That's
but we get so many people though that like they think they need a 4090 or a 4080 or something, and they just don't.
In their defense, in my first full built computer, I did buy a 690 because I thought I needed that to run Skyrim.
I mean, but it did run Skyrim, didn't it?
Yeah, and SLI died, and the 690 was an 680 SLI card.
Yeah.
It was one
Rip
PCB
SLI,
with two
dude.
680s on it. So eventually, I should have just bought a 680.
So much stuff is gone now. Like I mean, Raid is really dead.
Oh yeah, we're just dead.
Raid is dead.
That's why I
SLI
see
is
those
dead.
hyper cards. I'm just like, why are you still
Yeah.
giving this stuff?
Manual OC is really dead. Honestly, like it is, dude.
No.
Not for you because you're a professional tweaker.
I
but
think overclocked, and I haven't messed with it in a while because I got the 5800X 3D and I'm not touching that.
Yeah, Intel XTU is surprisingly good.
XTU.
The extreme tuning utility
Oh,
for
that
just
thing.
for one click OC with Intel chips, surprisingly good.
Ryzen Master was also pretty easy. I wish we could turn it on.
That's gonna be Nick's new hashtag, Ryzen Master.
Ryzen. Dude,
Hashtag Ryzen Master.
no, one of the best things I wish maybe we should start turning it on in our systems like XMP is PBO2. I think it's one of the greatest settings of all time, and every AMD system should have PBO2 turned on.
Yeah.
Because you're telling your Ryzen to run at the same clock speeds at lower voltages,
Right.
and you can literally still hit the same frequency, but you're down like 10 degrees. Like I've seen, it wasn't a big deal on 5,000, but on 7,000, I have seen people literally get the same performance and save like 10 to 7
I've seen the
degrees.
people that buy the 7950X 3D and then they turn off some of the cores.
Well, yeah,
which
because
is
most
like-
games don't use more than the
I
8 cores.
get it, but just buy a 7800X 3D.
No, so yeah, I think if you want a 3D cache chip for gaming, like if you're gaming, go 7800X 3D. If you want to multitask, just get a regular 7950X.
Yeah.
Like the 7950X 3D and the 7900X 3D, even as an AMD guy, I don't know what their place in this world is.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
You know, the 3D cache stuff though, that's
I can't believe Intel
big.
hasn't tried that.
I don't, maybe there's some kind of like patent protection or something, you know. I don't like the Infinity Fabric.
But it could be a patent for, like, I feel like you could patent the exact design they have, but you can't
Yeah.
really patent like the concept.
You could.
Stacked.
I don't know I'm not legal eagle enough to know like what you can
Yeah, neither
protect,
am I.
like what kind of IP you can protect with a patent. Like, you know, can you patent the result or what, or can you only patent the process? I don't know the answer to that question, but I will say like having, when it comes to like L3 cache on die, having each individual CPU core be able to access the entire cache versus having portions of the cache be shared between different cores, that makes a difference, because you do see, since AMD has the ability to do that, even though you'll take an Intel chip that has a higher clock speed, you'll actually, in a lot of cases, get more instructions per cycle at a lower clock speed on the AMD.
Well, it's kind of like, I always compare it to like if you're moving out with a like Lambo and you're packing a few things in your Lambo and speeding
Right.
down the road, or getting a Mack truck and you're moving slower, but you can just put so much in that trailer.
Right. Yeah. It's just different. You know, it's just different. I wish that in my experience though, the AMD platform has never been as drama free. You know, not like Intel's never had problems, but I like,
Yeah, the new Xeon chip
when-
is pretty.
well, so when Asus, I think that Asus bungled the PR aspect of the whole SoC voltage thing, you know, but I can't imagine something like that happen with Intel when they roll out a new chip, because, you know, I mean, it was limited. First off, it was never just Asus that was having the problem. Like if you go and read stuff on like Igor's Lab or Tom's Hardware, two great websites, by the way. If you want insights on what Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 cents are going to talk about next month, go read Igor's Lab today. Go read Igor's Lab now, and you'll see what Jay and them are going to be talking about in a few weeks. And that's not a knock on them. It's just, it takes them that long to, you know, do their content calendars and plan that content and create it. So it's not like, that's not to say that those guys aren't aware of that stuff, because they're aware of it too. It's just, once they become aware of something, they can't instantaneously curate content geared towards that. So those guys know the same stuff that we do, and I don't mean to imply that they don't, but like on the consumer side, if you read, you know, Igor's Lab and Tom's Hardware or Anantech to some degree, you can kind of get some insight into what might be coming in the mainstream pipeline weeks later. And, you know, to that point, there were documented cases of, you know, Gigabyte and MSI having those same issues that Asus was having with SoC voltages and AMD chips. And, you know, it only ever happened when the Expo memory profile was applied. And it's an AMD thing. Like if you apply AMD's memory profile and it overvolts the CPU in excess of the manufacturing specs,
See,
that's really an AMD problem
the
too.
thing,
Like
I still don't know who to target. I don't know if I'm still.
Asus did not handle that
When
well.
it comes to XMP though, I'm still wondering: do we target motherboards, RAM, or CPUs? When it comes, you can't have XMP on with 4 sticks on
Yeah.
DDR5. I think that is the weirdest thing.
My understanding is that is a limitation of the physical memory controller. And so what Nick's talking about are with the Z790 chipset on Intel.
Well, even with B650 and like
Yeah.
X670 too.
Yeah, when you get to the point where you're running 4 memory modules of DDR5, it's very, very hard to be stable at speeds exceeding like 5600. And with 2 sticks, it's no problem. I mean, I've been running two DIMMs in my own setup on Z790 DDR5 7200 for. I've been running DDR5 7200 since September of 22, I think.
Why do you need 7200 speakers?
Well, I don't need it, Nick. No one needs a Lamborghini, but no one needs a Ferrari, but it's still fun to have.
You gotta have the fast speeds for
Listen,
data
dude,
feeds 30.
in my defense, Jake from Kingston sent me a sample kit of memory. It's not like it's not.
Speaking about Ferraris, one of my favorite things was when Kev asked for 32 gigs of RAM and you gave him Dominators. And he
Right.
just looked at me and was like, "Oh, those are pretty neat." And he just walked off. I was like, "Dude, you have no idea what that like that dude just handed you."
We are
That's one of the
Steltech
nicest
says,
things
"Hey
ever.
guys, what's up, dude? Let's see. At DreamHack, I got to speak to Roby, and I refer you guys in Braythorn. That was cool because he said very good things for me. Oh, good. But it's cool when somebody like Roby that's got such a big platform says nice things about us. But
Yeah.
I only have nice things to say about Justin too. So he's genuinely a good guy, very knowledgeable. He worked at Microsoft for
Yeah,
a
you
long
told
time.
me that.
Yeah, he worked at Microsoft for a long time too. So he's very very well connected in the space. Super technically smart guy too. Like
Yeah, I'm not.
Nick's pretty technical. Don't let him fool you. But yeah, anyway. What other questions does the chat have? Let's see.
Yeah.
See what else they got, because we're going on like an hour here. Nick and I could ramble about nerd stuff all day.
Yeah, I like it. And I get paid for it. That's the best.
Right? Nick's on the clock, dude.
TJ doesn't even.
He's making bank, dude. Hey, you didn't punch out for this? What the hell, Nick?
No.
Nick's gonna have his agent call me, start talking about his name, image, and likeness deal that he wants to be
Oh,
on. Nick, I need an NIL deal,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You know how many college athletes? Well, Brad saw them all. Like all these college athletes reaching out to us, like, wanting free PCs for their name, image, and likeness deals or whatever.
Mhm.
And like,
I don't watch college sports, so I would just pick up the phone and be like,
it's not.
I don't know who you are.
I don't know how to, dude. Even if you're a good college player, I don't know who you are. you could be like the best player for like the big team. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
The closest I ever got to college sports was the NCAA football games. And so I knew every player by their number because they couldn't use their names on the game.
Yeah.
I'd be like, dude, number 2 on Ohio State, great. Like number 2.
I know
I hope number 2 graduates and makes it to the
I know the
NFL.
cornerback for
That's
Alabama.
all I know.
The cornerback for Alabama, number 1, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I know him because his name's Kool-Aid.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it really?
it's not his real name,
Oh.
but he's
that's-
but he's like listed in their roster as Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's cool.
Which so
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that's so I wondered, like I googled it, like why do they call him Kool-Aid? Because I figured that can't be his real name, which it's not his real name. His real name is JaQuincy. But they have called him Kool-Aid ever since he was a baby because his grandma thought he had a smile that looked like the Kool-Aid Man.
Really?
That made me like him because
Pretty cool.
originally I wanted to make fun of him for being named Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
and then I googled why is he named Kool-Aid, and I read that and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of nice.
They have to let him be the one that breaks through like the paper at the start of it.
Then I know.
Yeah.
And, yeah, have it like break through the. Oh yeah. What's your favorite ATX case right now?
Oh, all right. Can I answer your question with another question? Are we going off function or form?
Nick immediately has to go right. We're talking about just looks, or are we talking about
Yeah,
performance?
because function wise and like almost form, I still think the Torrent is the best case on the market. So if we're going just looks, I like the Fractal North a lot.
North,
And that's why I
yeah.
swapped from the
Right.
Torrent to
Yeah.
the North.
If IKEA made a PC case.
I did that for a year now.
Yeah, the North is awesome. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. Brad likes that case too.
Don't you have a North?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad
Yeah,
has a North.
That's my Christmas gift. A year. I can't believe I had that.
My
for a
favorite
year.
Fractal case, legit.
The Find 7.
No. My favorite Fractal case is the Terra.
Oh, I love the Terra, dude. Wait, you call the North the IKEA,
The IKEA of
but
PC
you
cases.
like the Terra because it's
The Terra kind of reminds me of
it's the
a.
same thing.
Yeah, but-
I mean, I love it. I have a Terra too, actually, at home.
Yeah. I like the Terra. I don't know
The
why.
Terra is my travel PC.
The Terra's clean, man. I
love
I
it.
like the small form
And
factor
it's
stuff.
so easy to build in. The Terra,
Yeah.
once you have the motherboard together, it takes like 15, 20 minutes.
I actually like the height small form factor too, with the handle,
Oh,
the carrying
yeah.
handle, the
The
Revolt
Revolt.
3.
But
Yeah.
see, on that side, I really like the Sunny Side Up Meshlicious C.
Yeah.
Because it's the same form factor. Actually, no, I want to get my hands on this.
Q58's good too.
I
It's
saw
a
it.
pain in the ass to
I
build
forgot
though.
who the YouTuber is. I saw it like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. Devin something, and he does small form factor. Have you seen the new Cooler Master, the Encore like 100 Max or whatever?
No.
They have it in like a brass or like a copper metal color. It looks sleek.
New cases coming from Deep Cool, by the way. Samples
really?
samples headed our way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know which cases.
But yeah,
They unveiled it at CES.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
DBZ Warrior form function, like the combo of them. I'm gonna go Torrent. Form alone, I like the Fractal North a lot. That's just it matches literally everything in my room. You'd walk in, you wouldn't even know that thing was a computer.
Let's see. Tristan RL says your guys' PCs look so damn good.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're
That's
trying.
Brad just takes really good photos.
That's the idea.
Brad's photo saves those PCs.
No, we do. I think the cables go a long way. Honestly,
No, the cables are what make
Towards-
it your PC.
Mhm.
I think so.
What is it?
Dude, you change the cables in a PC,
Yeah.
like
This is my
Change-
PC.
yeah,
I may
change
like
from-
it, but this one is mine.
that's right.
The cables are what do that.
I think so. The Tower 100, but painted like a TARDIS. We've done some cool Tower 100 builds. Did you guys see the?
Doctor Who.
What did you guys think of the Tower 300 pictures I sent you from
That-
CES?
the MATX one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I like
So I think that thing looks like a space pod
are
or
we
something,
in with
dude.
thermal take at all?
Thermal take?
Yeah. Are we in with thermal take?
Yeah, I mean, we have contacts at Thermal Take, but we don't use any of their stuff.
Okay, good. 'Cause they're not usually my favorite, but that
I'm
case
not-
is pretty. That
I'm-
case does look pretty good.
I'm not a Thermal Take guy.
The Tower 100, I believe, is the one that
Although I've been,
terrible airflow. But then I saw something about the Tower 300 MATX one that it's like it's a lot better.
I've been doing this long enough to remember when everyone called it Thermal Talkie.
Thermal or thermal fake.
What? Yeah, when they had all the knockoff stuff,
Yeah, thermal.
Thermal Fake. But nah, Thermal Take's all right, dude. Thermal Take actually,
I to build that green one with you, Brad. Did he order it?
Oh, not yet.
bro, you know who loves Thermal Take? Derek,
Who's that?
Rhodes PC.
Oh, Rhodes.
Yeah, Derek loves Thermal Take, dude.
So did Alex.
Yeah.
Alex loved thermal take.
Yeah.
He wanted that one thermal take kit that looked like the mini fridge with the microwave on top of it and your espresso machine off. Like it didn't look like a PC. It looked like some.
We did
idea.
some crazy water loops in Tower 900s though, because there's so much space.
What was the thermal take case?
Oh yeah, I
that
remember
was
seeing a
just.
couple videos.
Yeah. That roller coaster loop we did was the Tower 900,
Yeah.
and then the stair step one we did with like the wild 180 bend in the top and the like, it was like 7 or 8 90 degrees in that thing, and it was a stair step. Like the stair step one we did in orange and blue was a Tower 900.
Thermal take that, but the one I figure what that one is that he wanted that like olive green one for like the Halo theme build. That case isn't bad. Like it seems like
Yeah,
Thermal
it's
Take
their
really-
300.
yeah,
or
it looks like
Yeah.
Thermal Take really is trying to do airflow.
It's not that I don't like their stuff. I just,
Their stuff looked cool. It was just there was always something designed a little better.
yeah,
For-
there's I mean, from an SI perspective too, there's like, do you guys remember the Meshify 2? Like, dude, I love that case, but it it didn't ship well.
I mean the Land Cool 2?
No, well that one also. That
Yeah,
was
the
another.
Mesh.
That was another one that.
I love the Mesh. I had a Mesh. I've had Define 7, Mesh by C, Mesh
Define
by
7.
Torrent Compact, North, and a Terra. I've had 6.
The Define 7 was actually.
I probably lost
Lost cases every year.
I've had a lot of Fractal.
The Define cases were great for water cooling too.
Oh yeah.
And EK made a distro block for the Fractal that was just made it nice. Tristan RL says Alexander PC will be my next PC. I think.
Hey, I absolutely hope so. By the way,
Hell yeah, dude.
Torrent, this guy.
We want to work for all you guys.
Assassin is probably my go-to build.
If you're seeing this right now, we want to work for
Or
you.
the Spartan. Or the Spartan. I mean, I've seen enough Obsidian 4000Bs to not get like super excited about the case, but I think the Spartan is probably my favorite spec sheet to look at. It's the most. I love the layout of the Spartan. Just an i7 4070 Ti.
Good news for you then, because more stuff from Corsair coming.
Well, it's the Corsair like Link stuff, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's fine.
Link
If
stuff.
it's one cable, that's fine. That's all
We're gonna-
we need to hear is
we're
one
gonna-
cable, and I'm
Well,
not-
so we're gonna start offering the Link fans in our high end builds along with the Unifans. So there'll be a Corsair option for the Link fans in our high end stuff, and then we're gonna start possibly working the 3000D into the model lineup
that'll be good.
and the 5000D. So more stuff coming from
What about
Corsair.
that Obsidian 1000D that you did a liquid in? How many fans was that?
34. Something like
Well,
that.
it was, but it
A
was
lot.
It was like Unifans though, wasn't it?
It was Unifans
So
too.
imagine it was 34 ML120s.
I did, dude. I did. Well, so I did
68
one.
cables.
When the company was still in my basement, I did a Obsidian 1000D with like 32 QL 120s or something like that.
No.
I remember that. I wanted to kill myself. Like that was because like somebody had seen. I forget who did it. It was an influencer that did it. It might have been who's the guy in Australia that's incredibly, insanely talented? No, Designs by IFR.
Oh.
So I think it might have been Designs by IFR that did the original build that I was like using as a template. I did the loop different because I didn't want to just, because like our client wanted me to just like copycat the guy's build, and I was like, dude, we got to change the layout of the loop or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to just literally rip this guy's build off. That's not cool. And, but it was a 1000D with like 32 QL 120s or something like that. Dude, bro, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It took me so long to like cable manage that whole thing. And like, it wasn't great. It was brighter than the sun, Dan. Like it was legit. Like, it was a 1600 watt, so it was an EVGA Supernova 1600 watt PSU, and it was two 2080 Ti's. So that tells you like how far back we're going. And
that's the perfect build to when you put in your 2 weeks and 2 weeks notice and your 2 weeks PTO at the same time. I'm done.
I'm out.
Someone else can, dude. I would not do it.
I don't know. I think Jacob's cable management's better than mine now. I don't build enough machines anymore.
And he can orientate coolers in the right direction.
Shut up, Nick.
Dude, there was like 4 in a row, like 4 Arctics.
I know where I put the
Jacobs.
logo upside down on the tower cooler.
It still mounts the same.
Whatever.
Oh, speaking of Corsair though, did you watch the A115 reviews?
I did.
So the A115 seems like one of the best Intel coolers you can pick up. But it doesn't fucking work on AMD at all.
No.
Like, I don't get how that works. How a cooler
don't
can
either.
be like the best air cooler out there for Intel, but then on AMD CPU equivalent CPUs, it's like one of the worst coolers.
Curious. I'm curious. I don't know. I still like the Noctua. I still like the Noctua stuff for tower coolers.
I'm waiting for
Deep Cool though.
Rock Pro 4 isn't that great for AM5, so I'm waiting. I think I'm gonna get the next gen NHD.
Deep Cool though, bro. Deep Cool hardened the paint on the tower coolers of late. I love their digital stuff.
Wait, what?
Independent Aquaman. I don't know what
What in the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me try reading this. I just was trying to. Where can I find a free vid about how to make your eMMC IT?
What? Yeah, holy cow.
It just looks like it's like that's a copied like.
Yeah, it's copy pasta from something.
Yeah, that looks like it's just a copied like store page, like. Yeah, because we don't have a vid about
An idea pad? Is that like a Lenovo laptop or something?
Oh, all right. Just
I don't know. M.2 SSD, so it's a 1 terabyte NVMe 2280. So when you see 2280 after NVMe, that's actually that's how long the drive is. That's the physical length of the drive. So there's different sizes of M.2 NVMEs. NVMe is NVM Express. Like PCI. PCIe.
What's NVM stand for?
NVM?
But I
I
remember.
don't know.
And
Yeah, I don't know. Dude, there was a point in time a couple years ago where I could have like waxed rhapsodic about the difference between triple layer cell, 3D VNAND flash, and whatever.
Now I have to look it up.
When we were looking, so as it was actually when I was doing all that crazy research on drives when we were trying to get rid of Samsung. So for those who don't know, we used to exclusively use Samsung drives here at Alexander PCs, going back to like the PCIe Gen 3 days and the legendary 970 Evo, and you know those were great drives. Those are still good drives.
I remember that E was Express, but I didn't remember NVMe. I mean, it's not a volatile memory.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were having issues when the 980 Pros first came out. Your failure rate for drives should be like low. It's never zero, but it should be really low with drives. You know, and like I said, the mean time before failure on these drives is like, you know, millions. You know, 1.8 million hours or something on a well-made.
Dude, they last for quite.
Unless
Unless you were like a 980 Pro from a year ago.
Yeah, well, but that's what was crazy was we had all these 980 Pro drives coming back, and we didn't know why.
It was just one bad batch. I have a 980 Pro at home.
We didn't know why, but it was like 5% of these drives were coming back, which is insane. And we were like, we got to get rid of Samsung. Like, we don't know what's going on with these drives, but this is crazy. So we got rid of Samsung and we went to Western Digital, and everything was going well. And then Western Digital had like a manufacturing problem where they lost like exabytes of VNAND flash. And our Western Digital rep reached out to me and was like, we're not going to have enough product in the SI channel for at least the next quarter to service all of our accounts. So we are prioritizing our focus accounts, and you guys aren't on the list. And I was like, okay, you know, which that's a hard phone call to make though, if you're a vendor. So actually props to our Western Digital rep for sacking up and making the phone call and at least having the hard conversation instead of just ducking me.
Yeah.
You know, and we're a small account, so it's not like Western Digital really, we're not going to move the needle financially for WD, right? So it wasn't, I actually appreciated him giving me the lowdown on what was going on instead of just ducking us or whatever. And that's actually how we met Jake from Kingston, because I went down the rabbit hole about like, what are we going to do about storage drives? And we got linked up with Kingston, and that was the end, because they've been dope since we started working.
No, I'd take a Kingston drive. If there was, Kingston is up there, I would say now with Samsung.
Kingston's better than Samsung, dude.
Oh yeah. Yep, Kingston is superior. Actually, no, like they're great. Like I would take a Kingston. I probably would just go KC3000 though. The extra 300 megabytes on the Renegade. I think the KC3000 is such a perfect drive. Like an absolute perfect drive.
That's
and
crazy.
7,000 megs. Like for gaming, direct storage only requires 5,000. So like still.
That's funny. He says your streaming vid showed up when I did a search with that question. That's crazy because we don't even deal with laptops here.
Yeah. Oh.
It's cool that YouTube's pushing us though.
Yeah, right. Different used laptop or buy separate computing parts.
So And then
I'm a moron with
Stop
notebooks.
Snitching wants to know, how do you guys like the Legionnaire with an upgraded TI card? I love the TI cards. I think the 4070 price to performance, like if you're, I'm guessing you mean the 4070 Ti. I think if this is your first computer, like the 4070 is it's an amazing card, but it's $600 on average. And
Yeah.
at that point, it's not. It's like what 5-10% at most,
Yeah.
rather than 3080. So I think if you still have your
I wanna
3080
see-
or 3070. But the 4070 Ti, I will put that card in any build because the fact that it outperforms a 3090 a lot of the times.
I'm looking
for
at
that much less.
I'm looking at the lay of the land for like graphics right now, like high on the higher end, specifically on the Nvidia side, and we should see prices like as these super models come out. So the 4070 Ti Super is tomorrow.
Yep.
The 4080 Super is next Wednesday. You should see prices on the high end graphics cards, except 4090, which is still just going to be impossible to get for the foreseeable future. But you should start to see like
I'm gonna make sure it's
retail
posted.
prices on the higher end graphics
It's like
cards
29%.
creep down a little bit. Because your first computer was a desktop, the rest have been laptop. Yeah, 4070 Ti really was like, I think, the best value price point in the Nvidia stack.
Oh, yeah. The 4070 Ti, I think, is my favorite Nvidia card right now.
Yeah. We'll see. The 4070
But the-
Super might end up being the
But
ticket.
The 4080 at 1,000, I don't think it's bad. Like the $200 price hike, but then at the same
Yeah.
time, the 4070 Ti Super is probably.
Well, so what I'm hearing about the 4080 Super is it's not going to be significantly better than the 4080. So like the 4070 Super came out,
yeah,
and it was significantly better than the 4070. But I think the marginal increase for the 4070 Ti Super over the Ti is going to be less than what the 4070 Super was over the
The
4070.
4070 Super, I think, is the best Super card in terms of performance uplift.
Yeah, because it's like 15%. It's significant.
Because the regular 4070, it kind of felt like a refreshed 3080.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. Again, if it's your first computer, like if I was building and I could choose a used 3080 or a new 4070, I would take a new 4070 for DLSS3.
Sure.
So I still think it's a great card. Same people with like, because there was a lot of complaints about the 60 series, like 3060 and 4060 being too close.
Yeah.
But also, it's like if you have a 3060, chances are you're not going to upgrade to a 4060.
Right.
But if you're building your first computer, the 4060 and 4060 Ti.
I didn't upgrade my 1650 Super until I got a 3080.
When I heard you had a 1650 Super, I could not believe that.
Why?
Amazing. Because it's like, dude, this guy's still playing Portal 2. And that's
Stop
all
it.
he had.
You stop it.
Or
That
Team Fortress.
that car was a warhorse, bro. Like my old 580.
I loved the 580s though.
580s were.
Actually, if I didn't get a 1070 at the time, I probably would have gotten a 580.
Yeah.
I thought the 580.
I had the 580 was my Radeon Warhorse card, dude. My 580 was a great card. I had a GTX 970 that I loved that took a shit on me.
Oh, yeah.
While I was raiding.
Dude, I never had a 970. I went right from the 690 to a 1070, and then I gave that 1070 to my friend because I was able to get my hands on a 1070 Ti.
That was nice of you. 1070.
Yeah.
That's
And
dude.
at the time, the 10 series is probably my favorite graphic.
Bro. You know what? A 1080 Ti is still a good card.
Yeah.
Like
the 10
now,
series was probably my favorite lineup.
right now, today. Like if you have a 1080 Ti, like
Still great.
that's still a good GPU. Like
Oh,
now. And it's not like okay, it's good. Especially if you're doing 1080p.
Mhm.
But you're doing 1080p stuff, dude. A 1080 Ti is still a great GPU.
And then
And it's got to be. How old is a 1080 Ti now? 6 years?
28. Those come out 2018 or 20.
I don't know.
No, 2020 was the 30 series. So 2018 would have been 20.
So we went.
2016.
Yeah, so 1080 Ti that was a big, because that was Pascal.
Because the 900 series was like a refresh 700 series.
Yeah.
And then the 10 series was actually like a huge jump. Then 20 series was that. 30 series was another. I think 10 series in my gaming lifetime, the 10 series and the 30
Right.
series were probably the
Because we went, so you had the 10 series, which was Pascal. And then you went to 20 series, which was Turing, right?
yeah,
Turing, and then you went to 30 series.
which Dude, I always forget because right now we're in what Lovelace.
Ada, yeah,
Yeah,
Ada
Lovelace.
Lovelace now.
Um,
His 30 series was Ampere.
yeah, Ampere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went from Pascal to Turing to Ampere to Ada, and I mean, 1080 Ti was Pascal. Like that was their first. That was the first time they did an FE card, I believe.
For the 10 series.
For the 10, I believe the 10 series was the first Founders Edition card.
I thought it was
May 2016, Ameridan says for 1080 release. That's
Yeah.
8 years.
they had a Founders series, but they still were just like that silver, like with the single fan, like the blower card.
What was the first FE card? I think it was a 1080 Ti. Was the first FE card.
I feel like I had an FE.
Somebody Google that.
They call them reference cards for a while.
Yeah,
The
for a
first
while they
Founders.
was referenced.
Well, the reference card just means it's the reference spec
PCB,
PCB.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that they started calling it Founders. I think at 10 series.
I think the 1080 Ti was
Because
the first
10
Founders
series
card.
still had the same, like that silver and black, like blower.
Ken says I had a 1660 Ti, total garbage.
Dude, remember when I said I'm not gonna say the
I feel like
SI?
you got unlucky, Ken.
I'm not gonna say the SI, but remember when I told my buddy before I worked here to buy a computer here?
Yeah.
Because he almost bought a computer from another SI. That
I
was a
remember.
liquid cooled PC for like 4,000, and it was a liquid cooled 1660 Super. And I was like,
Yeah, like a liquid cooled 1660. Like,
I was
why
like,
would you
why
liquid
would
cool
you
a
do
six?
this?
Yeah,
Oh my god!
I remember.
seen
I
that.
remember you screenshotted and texted me like the checkout link that
Yeah,
he was
it's
on.
like,
I
oh my
was,
god! Don't do it. Why?
and I was like,
Why
"What are you
this?
doing?
Why you doing this?
Like,
Why?
why?
Who? But like, I don't know what's.
Why
worse,
was that
wanting
even
to-
a configurable
That's what I
option?"
was saying. I don't even know what was worse, wanting to buy that or like who sat down and planned a liquid loop.
What? Yeah.
1660.
Well, who even made that like available? I don't
It
like.
was another SI.
I know,
They're
but
pretty known for liquid.
I know, but as an SI, why would you even offer? Because the rest of the like the rest of that build was like pimping. It was like
I think it
an
was an i7 or something.
Mm-hmm.
it was like an i7 13700K or 12700K.
It was,
With-
yeah, it meant 12.
I think it was a 12700K,
1660.
and like, I mean, the rest of the PC was like top shelf stuff, and then it had like this because this was when 30 series was the current gen, and then all of a sudden you had like a 1660 Ti on a water block, like.
Guys, I hate to do this, but I did just realize it's 415.
Oh yeah.
It's.
I just heard the buzzer go for FedEx.
Yeah.
I just heard the doc. Thanks for not ignoring you. Yeah, no, it's all good, dude. Being direct and saying what we do. Yeah, I would be happy to discuss your question. I just don't. I am not the source for that, bro. Like, don't ask me about laptops because I'm dumb. I don't know. I cannot intelligently speak to your situation, so I would rather just tell you that than tell you something stupid.
Yeah.
Or that I don't
Laptops I've
like.
kind of stayed away
Yeah,
from. too
I'm
for a
not.
bit.
I'm not a big
I don't think
laptop guy.
laptops are inherently bad. It's just like what sucks is when a laptop starts going out, the laptop's going out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, gaming laptops are, in my opinion, that's a dicey proposition. I feel like from the time you buy a gaming laptop to use for gaming, I feel like you're on like a 18-month clock before that thing starts to
Well,
seriously
the
break
thing I don't
down.
like about gaming laptops is that it's always a dumbed down chip. So you think you're getting like a 3080, but you're really getting like a 3060 Ti performance.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can look at like the 3080 laptop version against like the desktop version, and it's night and day
Yeah.
about perform. But if you're gonna shove everything into that small of a form factor with a notebook, like, it's hard to keep those parts cool for real. I mean, you can do it, but you would have to use really expensive materials to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like,
feel like I would just, what would be fun to do is just, because the Ridge has all those bolts on it, just mounting a monitor to your Ridge and sling that in.
I like the Ridge too,
Yeah,
man.
it's actually
Fractal's been killing it this last like
I
3 or
know.
4 years. I think Fractal's been absolutely killing it.
Fractal's been doing a good job, man.
But
Now, if they
anyways,
would actually stock their U.S. distribution channel, and you know,
you got
make-
But anyways, guys, it is after 4, which means we do have to get ready to put the part
it
on.
means Nick's about to turn into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
He is a ginger.
Yeah. Well,
So is
I
Brad,
think it's
though.
almost time for Nick.
I'm actually surrounded by gingers. I'm outnumbered.
No, Brad's blonde.
I don't know, man.
I got some
That's
red in my beard.
Yeah,
You do, yeah. I have some red in my beard, though.
Yeah,
Well,
me
it's
too.
gray now. It was red. The shit that used to be red is gray now.
Yeah, Brad's blonde. He sneezed a little cayenne pepper out.
Yeah.
Little cayenne pepper.
He just had a little sneeze, but that's it.
He's not a full on. He's not a full on ginger.
No,
He has half a soul.
No.
Yeah, so quarter,
But 417 means not pumpkin. It means it's Nick go home and take nap time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
That's what I'm feeling.
Nick needs to
today.
rest. His gingivitis is acting up.
It's ginger. No, dude, gingivitis. My gingivitis clicks in. Oh, summer is actually not bad. It's usually
It's not D&D
late
night, is
July.
it?
It's like July, August, September is when the gingivitis steps in.
It's not D&D night, is it?
No, we're moving it this week. One of the guys.
Are you
decided-
changing D&D night?
No. The am I a ginge at D&D night or am I changing?
No, are you changing D&D night?
No, one of the guys had a kid.
Oh.
So
Well, I hope his wife had it. I mean, it's 2024, guys. you never know.
so dumb. Oh, but anyways, guys, thank you. I know this went from just talking about the torrent to just a really fun Q&A. Honestly, I wouldn't mind doing Q&As. I think that'd be awesome.
Q&A Tuesdays.
But yeah,
Q&A Tuesdays with Big Nick.
yeah, there you go.
You know why we call him Big Nick? Because he's big. His name's Nick.
He is so close to my other nickname.
What's your other nickname?
It's like the same thing, but just think of my last
What? Oh, yeah. I don't want to tell your last name. I want some web
name. No,
merchant.
just the first letter.
Oh, Big D. Nick, Big D.
Yeah.
That's true.
Pretty good.
I don't want to tell everybody Nick's full name though. I don't want anybody like stalking him. I want that
Oh,
on.
whatever. They'd be so bored.
Yeah,
I
right.
did the most boring Truman show of all time.
The most boring
This guy
Truman
just
show?
comes home and sits on his ass all day. What the hell?
My brother and I were talking about that. How
Kevin would be the best Truman Show.
Kevin, dude, I swear to God, I was telling Brad the other day, like, we should just hire someone freelance to like come in and just film Kevin during the day, and we could just then you could edit
I
it.
can't believe if anyone did you post that reel?
I'm gonna post it.
If anyone doesn't follow our Instagram link, our Instagram Alexander PCs, I just got the best recording of Kevin in the warehouse.
No, what, dude, say
Kevin
what
is party back there every day.
say what you want. No one is ever having more fun than Kevin ever. I don't know. I do worry about like Kevin operating a forklift though. I don't know if that's safe.
Or
But
I want a gun because I think they're cool.
yeah, Kevin. I bought a gun because I think they're awesome. Like, all right,
Well,
dude.
no, he has a FOID card, but he doesn't have a gun.
Oh.
He's like, I don't need one. I just want one. 'cause
See, I'm the opposite of that. I have lots of guns, but no FOID card. Allegedly.
Jesus. All right, guys, but for real, I think we can just keep going. I do think it is time for
All
us
right,
to
cutting
stop
it off.
the stream.
Yep.
It is time for us to stop the stream, cut it off. It's Nick, go home, take nap time. It's Brad, go home, take nap time.
Yeah, it's
And then we're probably going to play that fucking Power World game because it's stupid and it's fun and I love it.
Dude,
Pokemon with guns, dude.
Dude, it's so funny because I watched the trailer for that game like 2 years ago.
Get
And
that
Christina
going.
And I were like, we're going to buy this.
Like hashtag Pokemon 2A or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
Pokemon 2A, baby.
Pokemon 2A.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Pokemon 2A version.
You know how every Pokemon has their number? Every Pokemon's 556 in my world. That's their
556.
Pokedex number is 556.
556. 556 is
Or
also 22.
762.
762 is 308. 556 is 223.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's 556 is NATO, so 223 is like the civilian
Um,
equivalent caliber, and then 762 is NATO and 308.
Only slightly bigger than a 22, then, right?
No, 22 is small.
Yeah, I know 22 is.
556 isn't that much bigger than a 22, but it depends on like how many grains the actual round is and stuff too. All right, we gotta go.
I'm just
All
sitting
right,
here
bye.
looking at you guys.
We'll do a different stream on guns.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah. Peace out, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Oh my God.